An insight into the battle of the sexes, Alexandra Eala, the only woman on the court in peculiar mixed doubles contest at Macau Tennis Masters. Alexandra Eala found herself in a bizarre situation in the Macau Tennis Masters in her mixed doubles clash. In a battle of the sexes turn, she was the only woman on the court after a late lineup change. She and Zhang Junqing pushed their opponents to the limit, but were unable to topple Alejandro Davidovich Fokina and Wu Yibing, losing 7-5, 7-6, 1. The teenage sensation has enjoyed a marvelous year on the WTA Tour, picking up her first title while breaking into the top 50 for the very first time. She had made a lot of progress in what is still the premature stages in what is touted to be a glorious career at the top of the sport. She has already made a lot of history for her home country, the Philippines, in her short spell on tour. Already making highlight runs like the final in the Eastbourne Open and the semifinal at the Miami Open have firmly placed her on the map. Day 1 started brilliantly for Team Conchita. Davidovich Fokina managed to overcome home favorite Zhang in a closely fought contest, winning 7-6, 7-5. They would then be straight back onto the court to compete in the mixed double contest. While Zhang and Eala would team up, Davidovich Fokina was supposed to take to the court with 18-year-old talent Mira Andreeva. The world number 9 has already showed her credentials after winning 2 WTA 1000 titles early in 2025 while making a number of deep runs in Grand Slam tournaments. She was hoping to make a first appearance in Macau in the doubles clash but was too unwell to compete. Not to worry, as Wu was waiting in the wings to replace the Russian. This meant that Eala was the only woman on the court for this mixed doubles clash, making it a very unique matchup and portraying hints of the upcoming battle of the sexes between Aryna Sabalenka and Nick Kyrgios. Eala and Zhang made the most of this disadvantage, holding their own in what was a very competitive contest involving the 4 players. They were just pipped for the first set before the second set went all the way to a tiebreaker, convincingly won by Davidovich Fokina and Wu. "Maybe it was more fun for me than Jerry, Zhang," Eala commented after the match in an on-court interview. She was also open to the idea of competing double matches at official tour-level events. "I think maybe yes, she stated. Depends. Depends on the person." Eala was due some praise, and got it in abundance from Wu, who was full of praise for the 20-year-old. "She is actually returning great and playing some really good tennis, and I like the two-handed backhand like how you do it," he said. The Filipino will return to the court on December 28 as she is set to face off against Andreeva in a highly anticipated tie. They have met once in the US Open Girls quarterfinal back in 2022 as Eala went on to win the event. The two young talents will be looking to put on a show in front of a hopeful crowd. This will be closely followed by Zhang and Wu facing off ahead of Hugo Humbert and Davidovich Fokina, culminating an action-packed day of tennis in Macau. An insight into the battle of the sexes, Alexandra Eala, the only woman on the court. Under the bright lights of the Macau Tennis Masters, the court became more than painted lines and echoing footfalls. It turned into a quiet stage for a larger conversation, one about gender, opportunity, and the evolving face of modern tennis. In a peculiar mixed doubles contest, Alexandra Eala stood as the only woman on the court, not as a novelty or a symbol placed there for effect, but as a competitor whose presence subtly challenged long-held assumptions. What unfolded was not a clash of strength alone, but a thoughtful battle of the sexes, defined by skill, intelligence, and mutual respect. Alexandra Eala's appearance in this mixed doubles match carried weight beyond the scoreboard. Tennis has long been one of the few global sports where men and women share comparable visibility, yet the lines between them are often rigidly drawn. Separate tours, separate rankings, separate conversations. Mixed doubles exists, but it is rarely framed as a true test of parity. In Macau, however, the unusual setup, Eala as the lone woman among male players, created a situation that invited reflection. It was not about proving that women could overpower men, nor about men holding back. It was about how different strengths coexist on the same court. From the first rally, it was clear that the match would not be decided by raw power. The men on court delivered heavier serves and flatter ground strokes, their shots cutting through the air with audible force. Eala responded not by matching pace for pace, but by changing the rhythm. Her footwork was light, her anticipation sharp. She redirected pace, used angles, and found space where brute force could not. Each well-timed return felt like a quiet rebuttal to the idea that tennis excellence can be measured by speed alone. What made the contest compelling was not the contrast, but the conversation between styles. Tennis, at its best, is a dialogue. One player asks a question with a shot, the other responds with an answer. Eala's game asked questions rooted in precision and patience. Drop shots pulled opponents forward, deep cross-court rallies pushed them back, and sudden changes in direction kept them guessing. In doing so, she reminded everyone watching that intelligence is a physical asset in sport, one that does not belong to any gender. The phrase, "battle of the sexes," carries historical echoes. It recalls moments when sport was used to stage simplified arguments about superiority, often reducing complex athletes into symbols. What happened in Macau felt different. This was not a spectacle designed to humiliate or glorify. Instead, it was a living example of coexistence in competition. Eala did not play as a woman, she played as a tennis player. Her gender mattered not because it defined her limits, but because it challenged the audience to reconsider what those limits were assumed to be. There was also something quietly powerful about her composure. Being the only woman on the court can be isolating. Every mistake risks being unfairly generalized. Every success risks being labeled exceptional rather than normal. Eala carried herself with calm focus, neither shrinking from attention nor demanding it. Her presence spoke through performance. In rallies where pressure mounted, she held her nerve, showing that mental strength, so often overlooked in conversations about athletic difference, is a great equalizer. The mixed doubles format itself amplified this insight. Doubles tennis rewards communication, positioning, and trust. It values awareness over dominance. In this environment, Eala's court sense became a bridge rather than a barrier. She read plays quickly, covered space efficiently, and contributed to the team dynamic in ways that went beyond winners and unforced errors. The court became a shared space, not divided by gender but united by strategy. For younger players and fans, especially girls watching from the stands or screens, the image mattered. Seeing a woman not separated into a different bracket but fully embedded in the same contest carries a subtle message. You belong here. Not as an exception, not as a headline, but as part of the game's natural landscape. Representation in sport is often discussed in grand terms, but sometimes its most meaningful moments arrive quietly, disguised as exhibition matches and friendly contests.